Hey, good. Hello. This is John Clay, and thanks for watching another episode of The Clay Way, Parenting the Clay Way. I'm John Clay.
And I'm Travis McCabe.
Travis is joining us from Green Bean Coffee as well, and I want to give a shout out to Green Bean for winning some local awards, have an impact in the community.
Thank you.
You guys are doing awesome over there.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We're extremely humbled by it. We've been doing this now for almost 2 years. August 10th will be our 2-year celebration, and winning this award, it kind of, we know how well we're doing, on a basis of like, we're seeing ourselves grow, we're seeing new faces come in, and that's all fine and dandy. But whenever we get an award for, hey, you're actually making a difference, this is what you're doing for the community, and people acknowledging it, whenever this happened, these were judges who were completely outside our community who just kind of was like, here's what they do, and we won. So it's nice having an outside perspective of individuals who don't live in our community seeing what we are doing. Like I said, it's pretty humbling.
Well, it definitely shows that you want to have an impact on the community, and the character that you are, that character that you have and that you show. And I think one thing that I think of when I think of what you guys do, and I think it's similarly the way that we approach things here, at least I do, is that sometimes you're winning people over one at a time. Right, so each individual relationship that you create, that you acknowledge, that you nurture, is that person that you've kind of have something with them now, and you feel like, hey, if that's all I can do is get people one at a time, so be it. I'm doing that, and that's sometimes that's all you can do is what's in your control, and you're going to affect the people that are right around you. You can't always control what social media does or what's going on in whatever, but you can affect what you do with people one-on-one.
Absolutely, it's a ripple effect for sure. With our drive-through and stuff like that, it's fun. Whenever one person, says, I'll take care of the person behind me. And, we see it more often in our drive-thru just because it's anonymous and people just doing this. And it's funny, as much as people love to be in the limelight, they love their anonymity too.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I'll take care of the person behind us. And they're like, okay, we'll do that. That person comes up and they're like, hey, that person in front of you, and like, well, I'll take care. Next thing you know, you're literally 17 to 18 cars deep of people just taking care of the next person.
That's crazy.
It is. It is, and it's funny because usually when you get to the last car, they're like, well, okay, thanks. It's like, okay, they just like,
there's no one for them.
They're just kind of like, well, great,
Yeah, they won the lottery that day.
Exactly.
That's great. I mean, the fact that you're going to have repeat customers, and the fact that becomes a thing, and then that probably makes a big part of their day. Like this, it's a sweet part of their day.
It is. It is. But.
Good for you guys.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
So we're here talking today a little bit about extracurricular sports and sports that you might get your kids involved in, and sports that you too would be involved in. And that's a big part of what we talk about on a weekly basis here. Is that
absolutely,
I'm not going to be able to convince my kids to do anything or see anything unless I'm sort of showing the way. I firmly believe that. Granted, not everything, but for the most part, I'm going to want to take the lead, or at least show leadership by doing, by example. So getting out there and showing them that you got to get off the couch. And I'm not going to just point you to get out of the house. I'm going to be out there saying, come on out.
Right.
And so what kind of experiences did you have with regard to knowing how to encourage your kids to get involved in extracurriculars, whether it's sports or other activities?
Absolutely. There's a lot you can do. Myself, I was actually in track whenever I was younger in high school. I was in track. I'm a long distance runner. I'm a short little guy, so, I didn't have a long stride. So being a long distance runner didn't really work out for me that well. But what I ended up doing then is, I still like the extracurricular activity. I love, track and the idea of it. I ended up doing like long jump and stuff like that. But, I like the idea of sportsmanship. I like the idea of being competitive. I think we need that. You need to have that ingrained into, of like pushing yourself to be the best you can possibly be, whether it's in athletics or education or whatnot. Find your own personal limit. And with my son Brady, for example, he wasn't in the track, but I also did martial arts for a long time. I did Muay Thai kickboxing, I did kickboxing and boxed. Right now he will be 16 in November, and he's going to be getting his black belt here probably within the next month or so. You know, so but he actually does jiu-jitsu and MMA. So he does full contact, he does jiu-jitsu. It's two separate things, and he loves it. You know, he's just one of those guys who's my height. You know, 16-year-old is just scrappy. You know, so it's fun.
Well, some of the video we were seeing here, this is the Hollidaysburg Tiger Sharks program. My son Jack is involved in that, and this is his first summer in terms of any competitive thing there. He did some basketball previously, but you know how it is with the little kids of basketball. I mean, you know, they're just hoping that they can dribble, you know, and maybe get a couple of shots. At least, you know, my kids. I'm hoping they're going to all be tall. I think they're all going to be 6 foot and above, you know, so I'm thinking about what sports, you know, you would be tall for. But swimming, great. Basketball, this was a camp. He was at a Penn State camp there. He's dribbling 2 balls down there over at Penn State Altoona this summer. So just getting him exposed to some of these things where, hey, I don't push him. I only want to see, I'll push him if he wants me to help him, to encourage him and stuff. But I'm not going to say, you have to do this and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to sort of taint that whole situation with it's not about me. And, you know, it's not me out there. It's him, and he's going to have to find that drive. It does get a little frustrating when you see that they're just sort of messing around.
Right.
And come on, get serious about this or whatever. But you know, he's going to have to find his own way. Ultimately, when your kids are out there on the court or whatever, they have to have that drive. They have to find it in themselves and want to do it. I don't want them to be doing it for me per se. I know that happens and stuff, and I know that they want me to be proud of them, but I think we have to teach them how to do it for themselves.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, if you don't have the drive and the will to want to do great, you know, for yourself, I think you're only going to do, 50%. You know, it's like, oh, look, I scored, or, you know, I made a touchdown, or whatnot, you know, and your parents are happy and cheering. But if at the end of the day you're walking off the field or walking off the court, you're just kind of like, doo-doo-doo-doo. You know, I think you have to get that drive going, you know, and I think that starts not with just sports, you know, it's all through life.
Yeah.
You know, whether, you know, you're in college and, you know, I want to really push myself to be the best I can be, like I had said earlier, you know, it always has to start somewhere, you know. Going back to things we've talked about before, work ethic, you know, how hard are you willing to grind? How hard are you willing to go? You know, some people might take a short route, you know, just because, you know what, I did okay, you know, and so be it. But are you happy with just okay?
Right.
You know, you know, as a parent, like, I'm going to be proud of you no matter what. But if I know you can do better and you know you can do better, then we're going to have a discussion.
Yeah.
You know, but if you can honestly come up and tell me, you know what, Dad, I did my best, then you know what, I'm proud of you.
Right.
You know, whether you scored or didn't, you know, if you can literally tell me straight in your face that you did your best, then that's fantastic.
I think that it brings up a point of whether you're connecting with your kids or not on that deep level, on their level, one-to-one, you know, like it's a kind of a man-to-man sort of talk. You might call it that.
Sure.
But they're not a man. In my case, they're not men yet. But you have that same kind of concept of I'm right there with you, and we're talking about something that we both can agree on. And in this case, sports, for example, might be an easy thing that a father and a son might be able to bond about, and father and daughter too. Like there's definitely those things where it's exciting to know I reached my kid. I'm so excited when I get to have a talk and I know that he was listening, and I was listening to him, and we were right there with each other.
Right, we're on the same plane.
I think that's some of the discussion you're having. Like when you're talking about, I'm proud of you for what you did, how you did it. I look back at my parenting moments. My greatest times with my boys are definitely when I'm having those talks, and then also when you see that they are doing something that you worked on with them.
Right, absolutely.
They're like, oh, look, it clicked. Like, look at them.
You know, I think one of the biggest things, you know, and it's as far as that goes, is like riding a bike. I remember, you know, working with my son Braden when he was trying to learn how to ride a bike. It was that constant repetition, and then finally, you know, and it's like, they're doing it. You know, and you know you worked with them and they got it and they understood everything, and like the stars aligned and everything. You're like, that's it, you got it. You know, and you're sitting there and you're looking at your child and just that overwhelming sense of pride.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they've succeeded. And then, you know, riding a bike I always felt was huge, because I always felt that that's their first sign of independence. Now they can get up and go, you know, and what's next, driving and whatnot, you know. But, you know, it always comes down to, like you said, making that connection and having them pay attention, you listening, you know, working with them, and them doing what you've said and taking everything in stride and being like, you know what, I'm going to keep pounding and pounding and working at it, and they get it.
I think the bicycle one is so cool because literally it is sort of this it's an example of what we as parents do. We're holding on to that seat, and when can you let go?
Right.
And you know that they're going to crash, maybe. You hope they don't, and you kind of hope that you're there to help pick them up, and that they're willing to get up and get back on the seat again.
Yep.
And then that moment when you let go and you see them go and they're able to go. So again, that translates to all these moments that are like
Right.
that in the future. And the bicycle one's one of the first ones where they're showing their own ability and independence, again, to do something that could be construed as an adult activity, bicycling, and they're doing it on their own without their training wheels or whatever.
Absolutely.
You know? So
Absolutely.
like there's all those little metaphors going on in there,
Sure.
I think, with all that. And fear is the other aspect too. So
Yeah.
ultimately what holds you down and what holds your children down generally is going to be fear. And so they're able to shed the fear, get on the bike and go. They're showing that ability to trust you, and the fear is not taking over.
Yeah.
At them, they're willing to fight against it and try for whatever.
You know, and you know, I think fear is a big part also of being a parent. You know, it's like, you know, our instant response is to protect our child, but you know, even as small as riding a bike, we're like, oh my God, I'm putting my child in danger, and you can't let your fear, you know, seep out and be like, because you know
Stop
it
them,
radiates.
yeah.
It radiates
Yeah.
out, because if they see that you're nervous, they're gonna be nervous. They're like a dog. They're sensing the fear.
Yeah, they can smell it. Yeah. Well, sports certainly. I think we'll come back and revisit some of the sports
thing.
topics again sometime. But at least this kind of gets us started on how we begin getting our kids involved in sports. So we'll come back and revisit that issue. But we look forward to your comments on what kind of sports maybe you thought were really effective, and also which sports didn't work so well with little kids. You know, sometimes you do try things that don't work, and you're like, I wouldn't recommend this one. You know.
If you're short guy, don't do long run.
Pole vaulting, might be a tough one. So we'll get you next time on other episodes in the future, more on sports. Until then, I'm John Clay.
I'm Travis McCabe.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.